There are very few beings on this earth who walk with a fire that cannot be tamed, a light that cannot be dimmed, and a soul that has been refined through battles most people could not endure. These are the chosen ones. People admire them, envy them, and sometimes fear them. But what many fail to understand is that crossing, betraying, or underestimating a chosen one can bring consequences far greater than expected. The wrath of a chosen one is not ordinary anger, it is the eruption of divine justice, spiritual authority, and inner power that most cannot withstand. Before we dive into this, I want to ask you something. If this message finds you exactly at the moment you needed it, I want you to type 1111 in the comment section below. It is a symbol of divine blessings aligning in your favor. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because every word spoken here is designed to awaken your soul, strengthen your spirit, and prepare you for the battles only chosen ones face. 1. The chosen one's wrath is guided by divine justice. When a chosen one is wronged, their response cannot be understood in the same way as an ordinary person's reaction. For most people, anger is fueled by ego, pride, or personal offense. But when it comes to a chosen one, their wrath is not rooted in selfishness, it is rooted in divine balance. Their fury is not simply an emotional eruption, it carries with it the weight of universal law. When they rise in response to betrayal, lies, or mistreatment, it feels as though the very fabric of the universe bends to their side. It is not about seeking revenge, because revenge belongs to humans and often leads to destruction for both sides. Instead, it is restoration. The chosen one becomes an instrument through which divine justice flows. Their presence alone can begin to shift circumstances, bringing imbalance into light and ensuring that those who acted wrongly cannot find peace. Most people cannot handle this because it feels as though they are not only battling a person but a cosmic force greater than themselves. No matter how clever they are, no matter how strong they believe themselves to be, they quickly realize that no human effort can stand against divine order. The wrath of a chosen one is not chaotic, it is aligned, purposeful, and unstoppable. To be on the receiving end of such wrath is to feel the universe itself correcting you. And that is why most people do not survive it without being broken or transformed. 2. Their energy exposes hidden darkness. When a chosen one unleashes their wrath, it doesn't always come in loudness or visible destruction. It comes in revelation. Their energy is not ordinary, it vibrates at a higher frequency, and that frequency has the power to bring truth to the surface. People who live in lies, manipulation, and secret agendas cannot withstand this energy, because it uncovers what they worked so hard to keep hidden. The wrath of a chosen one feels unbearable because it is not simply an attack. It is a mirror, reflecting everything a person thought they had buried. Their lies unravel, their plots crumble, and the image they built of themselves collapses under the light of truth. This is why deceivers, betrayers, and those who thrive in darkness fear chosen ones more than anyone else. A single confrontation, a single moment of exposure, can undo years of deception. Even their silent presence in a room can make the guilty restless, because the chosen one's spirit naturally pulls darkness into light. People begin to feel naked in their presence, unable to hide behind masks or false words. This revealing power makes the wrath of a chosen one different from ordinary anger. It does not just hurt feelings, it dismantles illusions. To those who built their lives on deception, this wrath is unbearable. Because once the truth is revealed, it cannot be hidden again. And so, most people crumble, not from what the chosen one says, but from the unbearable weight of their own lies being exposed. 3. Their silence is louder than their words. Not every expression of wrath comes through shouting, confrontation, or outward displays of anger. In fact, one of the most devastating forms of a chosen one's wrath is silence. When a chosen one withdraws their voice, their energy, and their presence, it becomes a punishment greater than any argument. Their silence feels like abandonment, judgment, and exposure all at once. People who once thrived on the warmth, guidance, and support of the Chosen One suddenly find themselves in a cold emptiness. What makes this silence so unbearable is not only the absence of words, but the absence of energy. Chosen ones carry a certain aura, a vibration that sustains, uplifts, and even protects those around them. When they pull this back, people feel exposed to their own weaknesses. They begin to realize, often too late, that they were dependent on the Chosen One's presence for strength, clarity, and even survival. Losing that connection is like being cut off from a source of light, and the silence becomes heavier than any spoken wrath. It is as though the universe itself has withdrawn approval. The quiet wrath of a Chosen One lingers in the heart and mind, echoing louder than any words could. Every ignored message, every unanswered call, every moment of distance speaks volumes. And those who once took the Chosen One for granted realize just how empty life feels without them. This is why silence becomes its own weapon. It strikes deeper than words ever could. 4. The wrath of a Chosen One hits where it hurts most. A Chosen One's intuition is unlike that of ordinary people. They do not merely observe on the surface, they perceive what lies beneath. Their spiritual sight allows them to discern hidden weaknesses, unspoken fears, and buried insecurities. This is why, when they unleash their wrath, it naturally strikes at the most vulnerable spot. It is not that they calculate it with cold intention, it happens because their spirit is aligned with truth, and truth always finds its way into the cracks people try hardest to cover. For some, it may strike at their pride, reducing the arrogant to dust. For others, it may expose their fears, forcing them to face what they run from. For yet others, it may touch the wound they've carried since childhood, the one they thought no one could see. This precision makes the wrath of a Chosen One unbearable, because it doesn't just confront the action, it confronts the soul. People find themselves unraveling, not because of physical damage, but because the Chosen One's wrath forces them into the deepest parts of themselves. And the truth is, most people fear facing themselves more than anything else. This spiritual accuracy makes it impossible to escape. Even attempts to deny, defend, or fight back crumble, because the Chosen One has already struck the place words cannot protect. Their wrath is not about destroying the body, it is about exposing and confronting the core, and that is something very few can survive without being shattered. 5. Their wrath transcends time. The wrath of a Chosen One does not always appear in the moment of conflict. Unlike ordinary people who lash out immediately, the Chosen One's energy works with divine timing. Sometimes their wrath is delayed, unfolding not in days, but in months, or even years. This is not forgetfulness, it is alignment. The Chosen One understands, consciously or unconsciously, that everything must happen when it is meant to, not when human impatience demands it. Their wrath may lie dormant, invisible, yet it hovers in the unseen until the perfect moment arrives. Then, suddenly, consequences strike in ways no one could predict. Doors begin to close, opportunities vanish, relationships collapse, and peace becomes impossible for the offender. The most terrifying part of this is that it comes when the offender least expects it. They may believe they have escaped judgment, that the Chosen One has forgotten, or that life has moved on. But the energy of a Chosen One is deeply tied to divine order, and that order ensures that consequences arrive right on time. For most people this is unbearable, because delayed wrath feels like fate catching up with them, inescapable and undeniable. It is not impulsive punishment, it is divine precision. When it arrives, there is no room for escape, negotiation, or denial. The Chosen One's wrath teaches the painful lesson that time does not erase actions, it only waits until the perfect moment for justice to be revealed. 6. They carry the power of ancestral protection. The wrath of a Chosen One is never theirs alone, it is amplified by the unseen power of generations that came before them. Every Chosen One carries the strength of their ancestors, the guidance of their spiritual protectors, and the covering of divine forces that walk with them. When they are betrayed, disrespected, or attacked, it is not just their voice that responds, it is the voice of an entire lineage rising behind them. To those who oppose them, it feels as though they are fighting something far larger than one individual. This is because, in truth, they are. The Chosen One's ancestors, angels, and divine allies step in to ensure that balance is restored, that no attack goes unanswered, and that no injustice lingers in silence. For ordinary people, this kind of force is unbearable, because it is not visible, it is felt. Suddenly misfortune follows them, peace leaves their lives, and strange coincidences unfold that dismantle their plans. They may think they are dealing with only one human being, but in reality, they have stirred a spiritual army. This is why Chosen Ones seem untouchable, why those who attempt to harm them often meet downfalls they cannot explain. The Chosen One walks with the shield of divine covering, and this makes their wrath uncontainable, because it is not personal, it is cosmic. And when the ancestors respond, their power multiplies, ensuring that no human effort can withstand the weight of the unseen. To survive this wrath is nearly impossible because it is not a battle of flesh, it is a battle against destiny itself. 7. They transform pain into power. One of the most terrifying aspects of a Chosen One's wrath is that it does not leave them broken, it makes them stronger. For ordinary people, betrayal, disrespect, or hatred leaves scars that weaken them, draining their spirit and dimming their light. But Chosen Ones are wired differently. Every wound becomes wisdom, every scar becomes a symbol of resilience. Every attempt to destroy them turns into fuel that elevates them higher. Their wrath, therefore, is not only in retaliation but in transformation. The more they are attacked, the more untouchable they become. Those who thought they could silence or weaken a Chosen One watch in horror as their attempts only make them more powerful. Their rise is the wrath. It is unbearable for enemies to see the one they tried to break walking taller, speaking louder, and shining brighter. This transformation is not accidental, it is spiritual alchemy. The Chosen One takes pain and transmutes it into growth, turning obstacles into stepping stones and attacks into platforms for elevation. While others sink under betrayal, the Chosen One learns, adapts, and emerges with a fire that cannot be quenched. This is why people fear harming them, because even in trying to wound them, they end up sharpening their strength. Watching someone you intended to destroy rise above you with unstoppable momentum is a wrath no enemy can endure. The Chosen One becomes a living reminder that nothing sent against them prospers, and that truth burns harder than any weapon. 8. Their wrath awakens fear of karma. People may laugh at a Chosen One in the moment. They may mock, disrespect, betray, or mistreat them, believing they have escaped accountability. But the wrath of a Chosen One does not come in petty revenge. It lives in the hand of karma. Because Chosen Ones are aligned with divine law, the energy of balance works automatically on their behalf. When someone harms them, that energy echoes back to the offender in ways that cannot be avoided. Suddenly, opportunities begin to vanish, relationships collapse without explanation, peace disappears from their nights, and doors that once opened easily are now firmly shut. And in those moments they remember the Chosen One they mistreated, the one they mocked, the one they thought powerless. Fear begins to grow because they realize they are not simply suffering bad luck, they are facing the return of their own actions. This is unbearable for most because karma is not always immediate, but it is always exact. It finds the perfect time and strikes with precision. The Chosen One does not need to chase revenge, they do not even need to lift a finger. Their wrath is silent, carried by the law of cause and effect. For enemies, this is terrifying, because it means there is no hiding, no running, and no escape. Every seed they planted against the Chosen One will bloom into their own suffering. The realization that the universe itself remembers what they did is enough to break even the strongest. 9. They do not fight alone. The greatest and most overwhelming truth about the wrath of a chosen one is this: they are never fighting alone. To oppose a chosen one is to oppose destiny itself, and no human can stand against destiny. When someone rises against them, they are not simply battling a single individual, they are battling divine purpose, universal law, and the plan of creation itself. This is why, no matter how much force, manipulation, or hatred is thrown at them, it will always collapse. The chosen one may stumble, they may bend, but they will never break, because unseen forces always move in their favor. For the enemies, this is unbearable, because they realize too late that they are not fighting equal ground, they are fighting against the very order of life. The chosen one walks in alignment with a greater plan, and so every attack eventually backfires, every trap eventually fails, and every enemy eventually falls. This truth is what makes their wrath unstoppable. They are supported by divine allies, protected by higher laws, and guided by a path that no human hand can erase. Standing against them is like standing against a tidal wave. It does not matter how strong you believe yourself to be, the force will overwhelm you. This is why chosen ones emerge victorious even when all odds are against them. Their wrath is unbearable not only because of what they do, but because of who stands with them. And in the end, every enemy learns the same painful truth: no one survives fighting destiny. So remember this: the wrath of a chosen one is not about destruction, but about balance. It is the universe's way of reminding people that some lives are marked, some souls are chosen, and some paths are protected beyond human understanding. This is the Chosen Seer channel. If you felt this message in your spirit, type 1111 in the comments for divine blessings and continued protection over your life. And don't forget to subscribe, because there are more truths like this that you are meant to hear. Thank you for watching.